There's a storm across the valley. The clouds are rolling in. The afternoon is heavy on your shoulders. There's a truck out on the 4-lane, a mile or more away. The whining of his wheels just makes it colder.
Welcome to Community Forum. Today is April 6, 2023. I'm Priscilla Almquist-Olsen, your host, and it gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome Jackie Williams, an Easton resident, a model and in her professional life, and a creator of a program called I Love Me, which recently finished a 5-week program in Easton's middle school, as well as the middle school in Hull. So I want to welcome Jackie. She's going to talk a little bit about that program and explain to us what it's all about. But it sounds very interesting and also helpful to middle school children. So welcome, Jackie.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here and excited to share the I Love Me program with your viewers.
Good. Well, tell me a little bit how this program got started and how it relates to raising multicultural children.
Well, I originally had reached out to Raising Multicultural Children to just volunteer because I just thought it was such a great program and so necessary, so important. Mm-hmm. Myself being a person of color, growing up in, or not growing up in Easton, but raising my family in Easton and understanding the importance of representation in the school systems. Just wanted to, lend a hand and do whatever I could to be a part of it. And so I reached out to them to volunteer, and we just got talking because they're just such great ladies and easy to talk to. And they learned about my background and some things that I'm passionate about. And from that point on, they said, well, you have to share this. So I was fortunate enough to join them in a Hull program that they have that and spoke about just confidence and self-esteem and body image and a little bit of my background, and it went over so well that we moved on to a summer program that I was invited to be a part of called the Together program in Taunton. And that was a 4-day program that, I built a curriculum along with some teachers, and that was just a great experience. Mm-hmm. And so from that point, it grew into the Easton program had asked for me to be, we invited, we met with the people in Easton and the people in Hull, and I continued to evolve the program to now a 5-week program. So
great.
It's just growing and growing.
So it's all about giving confidence and self-esteem. And middle school children are 9, 10, 11 years old. Mm-hmm. So that's just the beginning when they start to notice their bodies. And I think especially the girls who are getting very often the wrong messages about their bodies.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about that. What are the goals in that regard?
Yes. Part of the program, I think what we realized the first time we discussed I started speaking on this was there's just so much information, starting from, as you were saying, the images that our kids are being influenced by, and them understanding where that's coming from. So that's exactly where we start is, how we are influenced by marketing and social media, and all those pieces become a part of our self-esteem because we feel that we have to measure up to a certain level of what other people are looking like. And that was my struggle, and that's what I share with the kids. As a model, back in the 80s, it was something that, there wasn't a lot of people who looked like me. And so trying to fit in to everybody else's, either body image or, my hair wasn't the same. It was, I'm biracial, so not really fitting into the black world or the white world was a really tough struggle for me, and I kind of had to find my way. So I share a lot of that with the kids, and understanding and hoping that my experiences will help them to see things a little bit, or to think about it a little bit sooner than later. Hopefully they'll get it way before I did. So that is the goal, and that's where it starts. And then from there we talk about just their uniqueness and their gifts that they are given, and the importance of kind of diving into their whole self, not really being not being so focused on just one piece of who they are. That part of my journey was the outside of who I was. So I didn't really think I was intelligent. I didn't think, I was an athlete. I couldn't be all these things. I could only be a model and pretty. And that was kind of what my identity was. So understanding that your identity is not what you do, it's who you are. And so helping them explore that and finding a deeper understanding of who they are sooner, and get them on that journey.
Yeah, well, isn't that so important?
Absolutely.
Back in the day, I taught kids who were 12 and 13, and even in that age group, it's very important to have them reflect on who they want to be.
Absolutely.
And who they really are, because that has an effect on who they're going to become.
Absolutely.
So, but tell me, what is the reaction of the children? Have you had any good experiences in that regard?
Oh my goodness, it's been amazing. I'm surprised every class that I teach, how the kids are just attentive and just wide-eyed and really excited and needing to hear this information. I think it's confirmation for them in a lot of ways. Something is resonating in them, which is just so encouraging. And even, when we go into the schools, we're not going into the schools saying we're gonna, help your self-esteem. They don't really know what I Love Me is about until they get to the other end of it. And to hear kids say, I'm more confident in this about me, something that's different or unique, that they realize it when they come back and tell me, I'm more confident now because of this difference, rather than maybe something that is a more common thing that they may think is what they appreciate early on in the program. So then I really feel like they get it. They understand what these 5 weeks were about.
Yeah. And Raising Multicultural Kids is a wonderful organization. I've had Denise Lane and Kelly Lamb, the founder, on the show to explain what they've been doing. And tell me, in your experience, do the children of color resonate more to what you're saying than children who are not of color?
I think, yes, I think, what Denise and Kelly are doing all over has been amazing. And they have helped. I mean, they are the ones who really connected with me right away and were like, this is so necessary. And originally that was my thought, because being a person of color, I thought the most, that's what I want to reach out to, because I knew how hard it was for me. But what I'm finding is all kids need this.
Right.
All kids need this. But I do think that there is something when another child of color that I am speaking with sees me and sees the representation that I have being in the school, it does resonate a little bit stronger and a little bit more. I know when I was young and if I had a teacher of color, to me, I just wanted to do so well, because there was something in me that was so excited about seeing that representation in school. So I think all kids need it. All kids want it. All kids hunger for that support system of appreciating their uniqueness and their differences. But I think for a child of color that is in a predominantly white school, to see another person of color actually being the one teaching it. There's something unique and special about that.
Yes, and I know that there's a strong attempt now to lure teachers of color to Easton, and the more the merrier, and also more children of color.
Right.
When I was growing up, there was one African American family, the Hineses, Eleanor, Pat, and Charlotte. And also there was only one Jewish family, the Rosenbergs. Dr. Rosenberg was the local dentist. So the times have changed, and changed very well.
Yes.
Because we are a diverse society, and our community should reflect that. And also, it helps to communicate between the races, so that people learn to love each other.
Absolutely.
And to care about each other, and because we are all part of the human race, it's so important. And today in our society, it's 2023, we have so much division in the country, and we certainly don't want that in Easton, especially among the races. And so your message, Jackie Williams, is so welcoming here in Easton. And can you think of any other things you'd like to discuss with me and share with the audience?
Absolutely. I think the other thing that I wanted to mention that I think is also very important is originally when I started this conversation, and coming from the background that I'm coming from, I did envision it as a girls, growing, and because as a woman, my thought process was more about what young girls are going through. But the more and more I researched, I found that young boys are going through those same exact struggles. Anorexia, bulimia is going through our young boys as well, because the hyper masculine, very muscular bodies that they're being indoctrinated with a lot, is just a real struggle for boys as well. So opening my eyes to see the importance of boys having those same representations of all different body types, and also having teachers like you were mentioning, having teachers of color, but also having male teachers and male figures that they can have around them helps them to thrive that much more as well. So I think the importance of boys, and we're trying to get as many boys as we can in the program as well, because I think that's an important piece. But I think us understanding about our differences and appreciating our uniqueness and our gifts that we talk about in the I Love Me program helps us to have empathy for other differences in other people. And I think that empathy is what prevents bullying. That empathy is what gets us to hear each other. That empathy is what allows us to be able to accept other differences. And that is a big piece of what you were saying earlier. And I think I'm really hopeful that, I Love Me will change the world.
Yeah.
So that's the goal. And again, as early as we can get kids to think about these things, I think is the better.
So tell me, this is an after-school program.
It is. It is.
So how do parents learn about it?
Through the schools. The schools usually send out information on the program. We're talking to other school systems to hopefully get them in other schools and get schools to understand the importance of it and make room for it.
So is this 5 weeks once a year, or?
Right now it is, but it's a brand new program. So we're hoping that maybe we can do it more than once a year, so we can kind of get as many kids involved as possible. My program is extremely hands-on, intimate, active, interactive. So we don't like to have a huge amount of kids at a time. So I feel the intimacy allows the kids to feel more comfortable to communicate and to share information. And so far that's been what we found. But if we could do it maybe more than once a year, then we can actually, catch more kids. But it's also, kids have sports and after-school programs.
Sure.
And
are you mentoring other people to lead these programs?
Not yet.
But
would be.
Is that something that our viewers should know about? That if they are interested in getting involved in this particular program, this after-school program, that they should contact you?
I would definitely say, we would get involved with I Love Me first. I did, when we did the Together program in Taunton, I did share my program with other teachers, and the teachers, because I wasn't able to teach all the age groups, so I did 2 age groups, and another teacher did another 2 age groups. So it is something that, who knows what the future lies for I Love Me, because that could be something that we could duplicate in other school systems. Even if we could do it in school during the day, somehow incorporate it to the regular curriculum, I think that would be amazing, because we definitely, you would catch more kids that way.
I believe that in the middle school they have a health program.
Yep.
So that period could certainly be designated for your program. Also, I think your idea of mentoring other teachers, that's the way you multiply the significance of the program. If all the teachers could do what you do, isn't that a great goal?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But at the same time, I recognize how much the teachers have on their plate as far as in the day of, a school day. So I don't know what that looks like, but yes, I absolutely agree for the teachers to be able to somehow incorporate bits and pieces of I Love Me into, their health or wellness, maybe even gym, because we do. A part of it is understanding your body. We talk about mental health and physical health. So it could be spread out throughout the day in different programs.
Yeah, I was thinking gym and the health hour, health class that they have. Those are 2 classes that could easily incorporate this program.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you've been here living in Easton for 30 years.
Yeah. It's crazy for me to think that I've been here longer than where I grew up. What I call home this is home now. We've been here and raised our family,
and she has 3 adult children and 3 granddaughters.
Yeah.
And it's hard to believe because she looks like she's 25, but you're really 54?
54, yeah, I'll be 55 this year, and loving every minute of it. There's something about being on the other side and being able to enjoy my grandchildren and enjoy my husband and enjoy life. It's a whole different perspective. So that's why it's been really fun to now create this program, I Love Me, that teaches a lot of what I've learned in raising my own kids. My kids also speak in the program. We did a Zoom call, and the students were able to speak to my kids. I feel like I'm one generation and they're another generation that's a little bit closer to them. So for them to be able to hear the different perspectives through the years, I think was really important.
That is fabulous. That's very innovative. I mean, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it was really, that was something that kind of came up because I have 3 kids, and as you know, you're parents to the same 3 kids, but each one's personality is so different.
Right.
And I had them speak to my oldest, who is very unique. He's always been the type of kid that experimented in everything and tried everything and dressed the way he wanted to dress and didn't care how what people thought. And he is now a WWE wrestler. And part of the gift of him was he was an athlete. He loved to act. He did drama. He did music. He did a little bit of everything. And because of that, like now I feel like he's using all those gifts together. And I think that he is a good example of appreciating all your gifts and seeing how now you use that in the world. And then my daughter, we had speak, who is she played basketball, and she was someone that, as a young person, she was very tall. She was 6'3". So her experience was all revolved around basketball, and her identity came from basketball. And so when basketball ended for her, it was difficult. It was very hard for her to transition. So her experience was very, very different. And so for her to be able to share now being on the other end of that, I think was really important for the kids to hear.
Well, it must have been interesting too for the kids to see that you had children, and also that you have grandchildren, and that you
Absolutely.
have a vested interest in seeing that they grow up with a great self-image. And by the way, your oldest, she told me earlier, her oldest is 6'7".
Yeah.
Husband is 6'5", and the girl's 6'3", and the baby boy is 6'2".
Yeah.
And how tall are you?
I'm 5'10", and as you said, my husband is 6'5". So, yeah, I'm the runt of the household now. So, 'cause I think my grandchildren are gonna pass me at some point too. So, yeah. So we'll see how it goes. But I mean, that's another thing that we talk about is, that's our uniqueness in my family is
Yes.
their height. You can't just go to the store and buy clothes off the rack or shoes, in the store. So that was something that we all had to deal with. And, as we laugh about that, but those are real struggles that kids have to go through. You can't dress like everybody else, you can't wear the same jeans that everybody's wearing.
Yeah. And the same is true for kids who are short.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah,
exactly.
and so
you have to adjust.
And there's so much discrimination against short people, I think.
Right.
Also, so that's another angle that probably you deal with. And by the way, I love your T-shirt. And
Well, thank you.
Somebody designed that. I love me.
Yes. We had the logo designed, and I'm just kind of trying to represent.
Yeah, and the O is shaped as a heart. So
Yes.
that's really neat.
Thank you.
Well, Jackie, thank you for coming today.
Absolutely.
And sharing this wonderful program. Those of you out there who have children in middle school, keep an eye out for this program and get your kids into it. So important. Parents are the last people that can help their children with their self-esteem sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. And it certainly helps to give it a boost, and this program certainly does that. So, Jackie, thank you for your dedication and your wonderful articulation of this great program. And obviously, we all wish you continued success, and the children are going to be, Easton's children are going to be benefiting, as well as Hull's children, and probably other places where you hope to introduce this great program. So thank you so much for coming and being a part of.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And I think the most important thing for us to always realize is that it does take a village. And like you said, there's not everything that the parents can teach. Sometimes the kids hear it so much differently coming from another source. And so I'm really grateful and honored and blessed to feel like I can be a part of doing something great for some kids, especially in my little hometown. So
yes, your hometown, my hometown, Easton, Massachusetts.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's it for today. I'm Priscilla Almquist-Olsen. I hope you enjoyed this program as much as Jackie and I have enjoyed producing it for you, and hopefully you will contact, if you're a middle school parent, that you will get involved. If you're a grandparent, be sure you tell your children about this so they can get their children involved. So thank you so much. Until next time, be well.